Okay, so hey there guys. So today's video is going to be my first Best in Beauty video for 2018. Happy New Year, happy 2019. This is my first video for 2019. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys all of my favorite eyeshadows this year. I always start out my Best in Beauty videos with my favorite eyeshadows. So let's jump into it. I am wearing a little bit of color today because I do have work soon. But I honestly don't really have too many eyeshadows to share with you guys this year, which is kind of crazy, but I didn't really try out too many new palettes in 2018 until like February or March. And then after that, I didn't really pick up a new palette until like Kathleen Light's Zodiac palette, which was in like uh, August or September in the middle of the year. And then I didn't really receive any new eyeshadow palettes after that until like this December or November when Chip gave me 3 new palettes and I got the Natasha Denona Gold palette. That's not going to be my Best in Beauty this year because I tried it out like basically a couple weeks ago and I still haven't tested out all the shades yet. So yeah, let's jump into it. I want to talk about my favorite liquid eyeshadows first, and that is definitely hands down the Milk Makeup pigments. I'm not going to mention the Stila ones or any other ones except for, I actually forgot to grab one. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry, of course, like I always start off the video with forgetting something. So yeah, I'm only going to really talk about the best of the best this year. I have talked about like the Stila Glitter and Glow eyeshadows like at least last year. And I'm sorry, I'm such a spaz today. I'm just so tired and last night was New Year's, so yeah, you can imagine how tired I am. Um, so you can actually see my outfit. So anyway, and I'm not going to share like every single eyeshadow palette that I shared last year. And sometimes my opinions change. So these Milk Makeup eye pigments were pretty much the most new liquid eyeshadow formula that I had tried in my collection. Like I haven't tried anything like these before. So I finally got to try them, and honestly, these are the best liquid eyeshadows I've ever tried. They don't transfer after you wear them, like after you apply them. I apply them with a glitter primer, and then I just put these on top with a eyeshadow brush because I cannot use my fingers to apply these, because if you use your fingers, they will not come off of your finger. You have to use a brush with these, and I can't swatch any of these for you because if I do, they're going to stay on my hand all day. That's how amazing these are. They're like super glue for your lids, and they are stunning. If I know I'm going to be wearing my makeup all day in like the city or something, I put these on and they don't budge and they just last all day, and I'll just put like ColourPop eyeshadows in my crease and put one of these all over my lid and they look freaking stunning. So I have 3 like neutral shades that I absolutely love, and I honestly want to collect all of these because if I could get rid of all my other liquid eyeshadows in my collection and just have these, like I would be good, like, and have all the colors, but 4 I think is enough. So these are the 3 neutral shades that I have. So this one is Hotel Lobby, and this is a stunning metallic gold shade. I love this. I wear this one all the time, excuse me. It's stunning. Then I have the shade Gig, which is this beautiful like bronzy toned eyeshadow. Also, the colors are pretty much coinciding with the packaging. Like that's what it looks like on your lid, is basically the color it is on the package. And this one is also beautiful with neutral eyeshadows in the crease, and I just wear these with, you know, sometimes with a nude lip or a red lip, and they look beautiful. They're so pigmented and so metallic. They're not glittery whatsoever. They're just straight up metallic, and they're gorgeous. And then the last like neutral shade that I have is called After Party, and this one's a beautiful frosty pink shade. So beautiful. I would describe these as like a frosty metallic dream on your lid. They're just phenomenal. Just make sure you don't look up when you're applying them. They only take about like 20 seconds to dry. They definitely take less time to dry than the Stila eyeshadows. I'm finally wearing the shade Gypsy on my lid today because I haven't been able to wear it. And the whole reason why I wore this outfit was just to wear that Gypsy shadow on my lid because I haven't worn it yet. And then the last one is called Sesh, and this is a freaking stunning like blue shade, and it's literally this color on your lid, and it is so freaking stunning. I love this one. It's just this gorgeous like dark royal blue. Like that's what the color looks like, and that's literally what it looks like on your lid. And it's just so beautiful. This one is like my favorite liquid eyeshadow ever. It's just such a stunning color, and I want the green and the purple, but I have to really think about what's more practical for me. I don't really wear too much colorful eyeshadow anymore. Like this is a rarity for me, and this is kind of like a neutral colorful look for me. So I don't really need to pick up any more of these, but they're just so good. They are so good. So I highly, highly, highly recommend that you try at least one of them. They are so freaking beautiful, and I love them. So at least pick up one. They are a little bit pricey, but they are totally worth it because you will never go through one of these tubes. They're just so beautiful. Okay, so now let's get into a couple of my favorite eyeshadow palettes this year. I only have about 4 to share with you guys. And then the rest of them are all like standard eyeshadows that I use all the time. So the first one I wanted to talk about is the Lime Crime Venus XL eyeshadow palette. This is my all-time favorite, one of my all-time favorite, if not my holy grail eyeshadow palette ever, and also my favorite palette that I tried in all of 2018. I tried this in February of 2018, and I absolutely fell in love with this eyeshadow palette. It is so freaking amazing. So this is what the palette looks like. I do have a full review on this palette on my channel, and also I have a couple get ready with me's using this eyeshadow palette. It is just so good. Every single eyeshadow in here is phenomenal. There is not one dud in this palette. There's no eyeshadow that's like dry or not pigmented. They're all freaking stunning. The mattes are so pigmented and they blend like a dream, and they're just so stunning in the crease. I find that Lime Crime eyeshadows are the most long-lasting crease shades I've ever used before. They don't like blend into other eyeshadows. They don't fade throughout the day. They are just so beautiful. So my favorite shades are, I always use Scallop as my transition shade. I love this shade Goddess, which is this gorgeous matte pink. I would say my favorite shade is Love. It's such a gorgeous neutral shimmery shade on your lid. And this shade Ethereal is like this gorgeous peachy dual chrome shade. It's so stunning and inspires this gorgeous shimmery pink. Like these are all shades that you think are just, you know, a little like standard, but they're such an amazing formula that it makes them like it's just such a gorgeous neutral palette, but also you can create some beautiful romantic pink looks with this. And you can also kick it up by using these beautiful sparkly shades and these deep smoky brown shades. And I just think this palette is so stunning. I use this one on my brow bone all the time. This one's called Blank Canvas. Idolize is such a gorgeous crease shade, and Burnt Gold is a beautiful defining shade. It's just, I have created so many looks with this palette, and I just love it. I need to use it again because I use this palette at least a few times a month. Let's just swatch a couple of these for you guys. So this one is Idolize, and this one is Inspire. You know, I usually include my favorite like mascaras or eyeliners in this video as well, but I forgot to grab both of those. But I can just share those like super quick after work because I only have like 2 mascaras and like 1 eyeliner to talk about because in 2018, I basically stopped wearing liquid eyeliner or black eyeliner. I just don't think it looks that great anymore. And I really feel like when you stop wearing eyeliner, it really shows off like the makeup that you're actually wearing. And I feel like it's a little bit more wearable that way if you decide like to wear color or something. But I really just don't wear liquid eyeliner anymore. Like it's crazy. So this one is that pink shade, which is called Inspire, and this one is called Idolize. I know they don't look like anything special here, but they really are super buttery, super creamy, and super pigmented on the eyes. And that one is Ethereal. Again, they don't look like anything special, but they really are stunning. And let's swatch the matte pink shade. That one is Goddess right there. They really are amazing. I just love these. I know that people aren't really a huge fan of Lime Crime, but honestly, their formula is so much better than like any other formula I've really tried. That one is Eden. I know these are really crappy swatches, but honestly, this palette is just amazing. Like, I'll add like some of these shades to like other looks, or like if I know I want like a matte orange, like I'll add it to any look and it looks stunning in the crease. I'll just throw it in the crease a little bit and it'll stand out on its own. Like, it's just amazing. So I highly recommend you try this palette, or at least one of the Venus palettes, but I do think that this is the best Venus 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 palette I've ever tried because it's so wearable, and the other Venus palettes aren't really as like neutral or wearable as this one, but this one is super wearable. So I love this, and yeah, it's amazing. Okay, then the next eyeshadow palettes I wanted to talk about are, of course, from ColourPop, because I just use them so often. And I would have to say my most used favorite palette of 2018 has to be the Kathleen Lights ColourPop Dream Street palette. I think this was my most used palette in 2018. I just love this palette so much, and I wear it as often as I can because it really is a amazing palette. So I have a couple dents in some of these eyeshadows, but I do use this palette a ton, and it's just, I felt like it was such a well thought out palette where you have your everyday neutrals that you really need, and then you have these stunning like pops of color. I know that it's a very interesting form of shades and color story in a palette. Sorry, I keep on like coughing. But it works, and I didn't think I was going to get so much use out of the colorful shades in here, but they really do work together as a cohesive palette, and really these are just stunning shades, and they really all work beautifully together. So I don't know what they did, but just this layout of shades really is beautiful together. So these matte shades are beautiful. I use these 4 matte shades every time I use this palette. I use Mooning as like my transition. I use this as my transition. This one I use as my defining shade, and then this one I use as my outer corner shade, and then I'll just pop one of these beautiful bronzy tones on the lid, and then I'll put like one of these on the inner corners, and I'll put like this one on the brow bone as well. And there's your look. And then like if I want to go colorful, I'll put this one in the crease, and I'll put this one all over my lid, and it's just stunning. Like, and I'll use the same neutral shades because they all work beautifully together. Like, you have every single neutral shade that you need in this palette. Like, I always find that this palette is like a one-stop palette for me. Like, I don't need to reach for any other palette. If I put those 4 on my crease and put this on the lid and put one of these in the inner corners and this on my lid. And this one's also stunning all over the lid, called Kaleidoscope. It's such a gorgeous like duochrome shimmery shade. And then this Mermaid Boy is just so stunning. It's like this gorgeous turquoise. I don't know, you guys. It's just a really stunning palette. And the ColourPop formula for their eyeshadows is phenomenal. Like, they're just so metallic and so pigmented, and I think that the formula in the eyeshadow palettes are better than the actual single shadows, which is crazy because I've been using the single shadows a lot longer. So yeah, love this palette as well. I can't get enough of that palette. It's amazing. So it's definitely my most used palette. And then speaking of Kathleen Lights, I just want to talk about a couple of eyeshadows from the Zodiac collection. So I had to mention the Zodiac palette as well in my Best in Beauty. Even though I don't love this palette as much as the Dream Street palette, I do think that the formula in this palette is also amazing. These are some of the best metallic shades I've ever used from ColourPop. I don't think that Aquarius is that great of a shade, but I think the rest of these eyeshadows are really stunning. The Gemini is such a stunning shimmer shade, and so is the Cancer. Like, look at these. They are so metallic. Look at these shades. That's the Gemini and that's the Cancer. Do you see those? They're like so shimmery and so blinding. I love putting either of those all over my lid, or I'll do like a berry tone kind of look, and I'll put like this one as a transition, this one in my crease, and this one all over my lid, and this one on the inner corners. Like, I can't really use every single shade in this palette because like it doesn't really have a lot of neutral tones. Like every time you want to do a neutral look, you have to use the Taurus and the Virgo. And like the Libra is a transition. But those are like your only standard like matte shades. Like everything else is mostly shimmer. This Pisces shade is such a gorgeous turquoise shade. And the Leo was one of my all-time favorites, obviously, because my sign is the Leo. And it's such a gorgeous gold. And also that shade, the Aries is beautiful, the orange one. So that's the Leo, which is, of course, my shade. And I love it so much. I was wearing that nonstop when I first got the palette, like especially in August. Was it August that I got this palette? I'm pretty sure this came out during the summertime. And yeah, it was just a really cute palette, and it's really good to go with like other ColourPop shadows. Like I just pull in shadows from the Dream Street palette, and I use these two coinciding together usually, which is what Kathleen Lights does as well. But again, I did get some really beautiful looks out of these. I think that the stars in this palette are the metallics. I don't think the mattes are like that great. They're good, but I think the mattes are better in the Dream Street. I think these ones are a little bit more dry since they're much more pigmented. But they're still really good. But the Cancer, the Gemini, the Pisces, the Leo are stunning lid shades. And the Scorpio is a beautiful one too. And the Aries. So those are like my 6 favorite shades in the palette. I wouldn't say this palette is a must-have in your collection. I did do an entire review on this palette as well, and the whole Zodiac collection when I picked it up. And it's good. I just, you know, I love stuff from Kathleen Lights. I think that this Zodiac idea was just so beautiful, and I had to try it, and I actually really do like it a lot. It's a really nice palette. And then speaking of the Zodiac collection, I also wanted to mention the ColourPop Supernova Shadow in the shade Constellation. This was one of my most used liquid eyeshadows this year, and this one is a stunning like neutral sparkly shade, and this one is so gorgeous all over the lid. Like if you just want like something extra to add to your look, this is so metallic and so beautiful. I love this guy. So that one I also fell in love with this year. And then the last ColourPop palette I wanted to talk about, I had to mention this one because I fell in love hardcore with this one. And this one is the ColourPop It's a Princess Thing Disney eyeshadow palette. And you guys know I had to pick up this palette because I am such a Disney whore. Like, I love Disney so much. And this palette really shocked me on how good of the quality it was. Like, you don't think it looks like anything special. You have to try this. The metallics are amazing. Like, every shade in here is so pigmented, and I really don't think there's one dud in this palette. Like, I thought that this one, Aquarius, wasn't that good, but this is a solid palette. It's so good. Like, so good. I was so impressed with it. I was like, I was not expecting that at all. I thought it wasn't going to be that great, but it's actually a really stunning palette. Like, look at this One Kiss and Thingamabob. Look how metallic these are. What did I just do? I don't know what I just did. I was like, ooh. I just turned off the camera for a second, but now it's recording still. Look at these. Don't they look like they're Super Shock shadows? Like, this literally looks like Liberty, the metallic Liberty shade, like one of their Super Shock shadows in powder form. It's so beautiful. And then these mattes are gorgeous as well, but this shade Ray and Prince Charming are like my 2 most used eyeshadows. Again, they're so pigmented. Like, look at these. Aren't those so metallic? I love this palette. I think that this was one of my favorite palettes this year, and it really did impress me. I was not going to pick this up. I was like, I don't need it. It's just another neutral palette, and I'm so glad that I tried it because this palette is so bomb. I love it. And the matte shades are just beautiful and blendable as well. I use this whole top row every time I use this palette. And then I put one of these on my lid, and I put like one of these on my inner corners. Enchanted Rose is such a stunning shade as well. Oh my god, this is so pretty. I usually put like a Boo as my defining shade, Triton as my crease shade, Grumpy as my transition, and then I do Beast on the outer corners, and then I just put one of them on the lid. This is such a great palette. Like, so good. So that is it for, and it's so good for neutral everyday looks. Like, one of the best palettes I have for Not that I need another neutral eyeshadow palette, but I really thought that was a great palette. And then another palette that I tried a lot later in the year, but honestly, I really have been loving this palette lately. Honestly, I don't understand why they didn't call this the Naked Raspberry palette, but I'm going to be talking about the Naked Cherry palette because I really do feel like it has a lot more like berry, raspberry kind of tones in this palette as opposed to cherry ones. Like, people are getting really upset about the color stories for Urban Decay lately. They don't really understand, like, what's going on. But, I still really enjoyed this palette regardless of what the color story is. I think that it's a solid palette. Like, I think that this formula is just as good as the Naked Heat palette, so I wanted to bring up the Naked Cherry palette. I always talk about the Naked Heat palette, and that's still one of my favorite palettes every year, but I felt like I was going to be repetitive again if I mentioned it again. So I really wanted to mention the Cherry palette, and I have been testing this out and using every single shade. I think the metallics are beautiful. I think that these have solid metallics in here. And I do think that the crease shades are good. I think that some of them are a little bit patchy, but once you blend them out, I think that they look really stunning. I just think that this palette's good. I'll swatch some of them. Look at this Ambitious shade. And this shade Young Love. I just wore Young Love like a couple days ago. But these are pigmented, you guys. Like, they're not playing with the pigmentation in this palette. So this one's Ambitious and this one's Young Love. I just think they're beautiful metallic shades, and I have been enjoying this palette. So, again, I know a lot of people are kind of upset with the color story in this palette, but I think it's a good palette. I like it. So, that is the Naked Cherry palette. Again, it does this weird thing, though, when I wear it, and sometimes, like, the crease shade will kind of get a little bit worn off, and it'll, like, show my glitter glue. I don't know why it does that. It's so weird to describe. But it only happens when I wear this palette. Like, I don't know why, like, the mattes would, like, wear off the glitter glue that's in my crease. I don't really understand, but I'm going to keep on wearing it and I mean, I've worn all the shades, and I've worn a couple of them a few times, and I do think that they're really good, and I think that this is a one-stop palette as well. I think it has every shade that you need in here. Again, though, like the Naked Heat palette, which is usually a one-stop palette for me, too, I don't think they have enough inner corner options. I think that Bang Bang is a good, is it called Bang Bang? Yeah, I think Bang Bang's a good inner corner option for this palette, but usually I have to grab for another inner corner shade, when I use that palette. Okay, just a couple more palettes to talk about. The first ones, I just want to mention, of course, my ColourPop single shadows, because I can't really do a Best in Beauty without talking about these, because these are definitely my most used single shadows out of my entire collection. I'm just going to mention them really quickly. Let Me Explain has been my all-time favorite inner corner shade this year. I use this a ton. Look how metallic this is. Like, that's barely even swirling around in the pan. Like, look at this. It's so stunning. So I use that all the time in my inner corners, and some of these shades are just so metallic. That's why I just freaking love ColourPop. Their metallic eyeshadows are just amazing. Like, they just have an amazing formula. So that pink one is Liar Liar, which is one of my favorite inner corner shades as well, and one of my favorite lid shades. And Take It Slow is a gorgeous gold. You guys know how much I love golds. I sound like gold member every time I say that. I love gold. And these shimmery shades are beautiful as well. Come and Get It is such a gorgeous shimmery, like, dual chrome kind of shade. And then these matte shades like Wake Up Call and Note to Self I use constantly in the crease. I did just tell you guys in my update video that I hit pan on Note to Self. Love that for the crease. And then Wake Up Call is a beautiful brown shade as well. And then Firefly, of course, I use as my transition. And then Hear Me Out, I use constantly on my brow bone and Locked and Loaded as well. And then these Cloud 9 I always use on my outer corners. And then Crisscross and Popular Demand are beautiful, like, red shades. And then some of these are some Makeup Geek, Nostalgic, Legend, and Curtain Call. These are all gorgeous foiled shadows from Makeup Geek. I also love these as well. Look at these shades. I do think that some of these are even better than some of their usual foiled shadows. So this one is, you can barely see the swatch. This one is Nostalgic, and this one is Legend. the foiled shadows from Makeup Geek are always beautiful, but I find that those ones actually transfer a lot less than like the original ones. And honestly, I barely reach for my Makeup Geek foiled shadows anymore. I found like other formulas of metallic eyeshadows that I like a lot more. I still reach for my ColourPop ones constantly, but the rest of these I don't really use that much. Sorry, my mom had to come in and interrupt me once again as usual. So yeah, that's it for the ColourPop shadows, and yeah, I really do love them. Like, I definitely recommend these every single time I recommend cheap eyeshadows. These are like my new favorite cheap eyeshadow formula. They're so good. Sorry about that shakiness that was going on. Alright, so it can't be a Best in Beauty without me mentioning my Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. I mention this probably every single year, but I do use this palette. This is like my most used palette besides the ColourPop Shadows and the Dream Street palette. This is definitely one of my most used palettes in 2018. And in general, I did say that I hit pan on 5 eyeshadows this year, which is insane to me. I'm not sure if I'm going to be keeping this palette in my collection after this year. I'm going to keep it like in my room for forever because I'm never going to get rid of it because this just helped, like, since I hit pan on so many eyeshadows, like, it really, like, I feel like accomplished with my makeup that I finally got some use out of some eyeshadows or out of a palette. So it makes me really happy to see this much pan in a palette. But yeah, this is a standard, amazing palette. A lot of people love it for a reason. It is a really good palette. I'm not going to swatch any of them. You guys have seen this swatched a million times. But you can create so many looks with this palette. You can create neutral looks. You can create really beautiful red looks with these like gorgeous warm tone eyeshadows like Venetian Red, Red Ochre, and Realgar. You can create beautiful romantic looks with these 3 shades, which is Juan Fresco, Antique Bronze, and Love Letter, and put this in the inner corners. There's just so many options and so many things that you can do with this palette, and that's why people love it so much. I really don't think she's come out with a better palette besides this one. Just the color story is so good in this. Like, it's a great palette. I love this guy. And people are saying that the Naked Cherry is a dupe for it, but I think the Naked Cherry is different than this one because it doesn't have a gold or a like light pink in that palette. They are different shades and there's more shimmer options in the Naked Cherry. So I don't think they are the same at all. Alright, then of course I have to mention my Colored Rain Queen of Colored Rain Queen of Hearts palette. This is such a stunning palette. I love this guy. This has been in my Best in Beauty for a few years now, probably at least since last year. It's just so good. It's so metallic, so stunning. I swatched all of these shades in my review when I did a Colored Rain versus Juvia's Place palette, which is like my most viewed video on YouTube now, which is crazy. And I also did one versing the Modern Renaissance palette, speaking of the Modern Renaissance palette. And that one has a ton of views as well, so thank you. But I still prefer probably this palette over both of those. I just think that this palette is so stunning. The metallics are insanely beautiful in here. I used Noblewoman a ton this year, and Your Majesty is such a... Look at this gold. Like, they're so foiled and so metallic. Look at those. Aren't they so beautiful? Oh, God. They're like liquid metal. I love those. And then Queen Mother is a beautiful purple. Just, they're all so consistently gorgeous. There's not one dud in this palette. The mattes are stunning, and there's such a good ratio of metallics versus mattes. There's like 6 mattes and 6 shimmers in here. So this palette is one of my favorites as well, and you can create so many looks with this palette as well. I love it so much. I used it a couple of times this past month, and I realized like how much I still freaking love this palette. Speaking of foiled, beautiful metallic eyeshadows, and if you guys are looking for a solid metallic foiled eyeshadow formula, the Jouer Skinny Dip palette is still one of my favorites. This palette is just amazing. The foiled eyeshadows in here are phenomenal. Like, they are so metallic and so foiled. So this is the Jouer Skinny Dip palette. The shades that I love are Starlight, Skinny Dip, and Magic Hour. They're all so freaking metallic and so beautiful. They look like liquid metal on your lid. This is such an amazing palette, you guys. This palette just blew me away of the foiled metallic eyeshadows in here. They're just amazing. Skinny Dip and Starlight, look at these. Like, come on. Come on, look how stunning those are. Look at this. I mean, if you want something blinding that you can see from space on your lid, it's this guy. And I use these as much as I can on my lid, and they are so stunning. I love these. So I can't recommend this palette enough. Like, this quality is insane, and I wish that people talked about it more, because this is one of the best palettes I've ever tried. When it comes to a foiled metallic formula, they are just freaking stunning. If I could put this back in the packaging, that would be great. All right, and then just one or two more palettes to talk about. Can I put this in here? Oh my god. The first one is the Dose of Colors Baked Browns eyeshadow palette. I believe I picked this up earlier this year or possibly last year, but I'm pretty sure I picked it up in like January or February of this year. Whenever I did that huge online makeup haul, maybe it was like in summer or fall of 2016. Anyway, this palette is amazing. These mattes are such a solid, beautiful, pigmented formula. I can't talk about this palette enough. As you can see, I hit pan on Outdoorsy this year, which I shared in my products I used up video this year. This is an amazing matte shadow, and I use it constantly when I use this palette, and I love these mattes in here. They're just amazing quality. Like, Dose of Colors has such amazing products. I fell in love with their Fuego highlighter this year, and this palette's no exception. So if you want something as a good, solid, neutral eyeshadow palette every day, this palette is so pigmented and so blendable, and it really is an amazing palette. And then the last one I wanted to mention really quickly is the Too Faced Glitter Bomb palette. This one actually really impressed me. I actually think some of the glitters in here are really beautiful. I got this at TJ Maxx because you guys know that I don't support Too Faced anymore. But some of these are really stunning. Like, I usually wear this glitter gold shade with this outfit that I'm wearing, but I really wanted to try out the glitter I was wearing today. And that's probably my favorite shade. And then Fairy Dust. Like, these aren't like the most amazing glitter shadows, but they have like this beautiful like subtlety to them. And they just look like a beautiful like glittery. They really are just pressed glitters, and they really are sparkly and stunning. Like, I actually thought this palette was really, really good. And this red shade Work It and Oh It's On, really pretty. I really want to try and use this palette more in 2019. But again, I just have so many eyeshadows, and again, I don't really do that many colorful looks anymore. And when I do go for glitters, I usually go with a liquid, not usually a pressed one, like my single ones. But honestly, this is a really good one, and I have tested out all of the glitters in here, and I usually can't say that about other glitter palettes, so this one's a really good one. So I'm going to go now because I have to go to work, but I will share my mascaras and one eyeliner later. It's not even going to take me that long, so I'll talk to you later. Okay guys, so I'm back from work, and I just wanted to talk about a couple of mascaras and literally one eyeliner. So, oh, my necklace is messed up. What the heck? So the only eyeliner I have to mention this year, even though I'm not even wearing it today, I actually decided to wear a colored liner on my waterline today for once. I usually don't do that. But for eyeliners, I only have MAC's Costa Riche to talk about because this is the eyeliner I use literally every single day of my life. I really don't use anything else. I also have the nude liner, which I forgot to grab. I'll grab that in a minute. But this is just the most perfect warm tone brown eyeliner, and it doesn't even last that long on the waterline, but it's just like the perfect tone. I like barely reach for any other eyeliners anymore. This is like the only one I use on my waterline, and I just love it with like every single look. Like, sometimes I don't even smudge something on the lower lash line. I'll just put on like an eyeliner. And if I'm like really in a hurry, because I always have to do an inner corner highlight, because like I just love how inner corner highlights light up your face. But when it comes to something that it's just super simple to use every single day, I always use this eyeliner, and it's just the best. I love it so much. And then the other eyeliner I wanted to mention, sorry, I forgot to grab it, is the MAC Technical Liner in the shade Risque. Every time I pronounce this in my Best of Beauty, I always said Risk, which is obviously wrong. But it's the shade Risque, and it's a gorgeous nude eyeliner that I wear for most natural looks. I wear this if I wear no eyeshadow and I just wear a little bit of something to wake me up on the waterline, because I think that nude eyeliners just look so beautiful when you just want something to just get rid of like your dark circles on your lower lash line. Like honestly, it makes the biggest difference when you put a nude liner on your waterline. It like lights up your face as well. So love this guy too. And then I just wanted to talk about a few mascaras. So my favorite mascaras this year. The first one, of course, is the IT Cosmetics Superhero Mascara. I do have it in this little container because I haven't started using the new one yet, because the one that I had in the mini size dried out. So I have had the full size before. Then I had a mini size for like a free sample at Ulta, and then I got this as the birthday gift from Ulta back in September. So I haven't even cracked this one open yet. So I'm going to start using this again. But this is still one of my favorite mascaras. It's so beautiful, so volumizing, so lengthening. So this one is a great one. Lengthening, not lengthening. And then, of course, my top favorite mascara this year was the Lancome Monsieur Big Mascara. This just makes your lashes look so voluminous and so full. And I've been using this the past like couple of days non-stop again. It's just the perfect mascara. I love it so much. If you haven't tried this, it's so good. Like one of my favorite mascaras of all time. This mascara is hyped up for a reason. It's so good. And then the one I'm wearing today is the NARS Climax Mascara. I still have it in the sample size. I really want to pick up the full size, but just haven't bitten the bullet to get it. I'm just going to start using the IT Cosmetics again. I don't really have too many drugstore ones, just a couple that I'm going to mention, but this one is really, really good. I think I still like the Lancome one a little bit better, because I feel like throughout the day my lashes don't hold their volume as much as the Lancome one does, but this one's still a good one. I still really like it. They're basically almost the same. And then the two drugstore mascaras I have to mention are two from CoverGirl. And the first one is the CoverGirl Katy Perry Katy Cat Eye Mascara. I think this is a really good one. It has a lot of volume. It's a little bit more drier than the other ones, but this is still a really good mascara. I actually really like the two things that I've tried from her line. I really love the lipstick, the Katy Cat Matte one. That one's really good as well. And then the last mascara is the CoverGirl Plumpify Blast Pro Mascara. This one's a really good one too. This one gives a lot of volume and fluff and lengthening as well. And I'm not going to open it. It has like a special curved wand, but this is a really good mascara too. This is the first year that I've ever tried CoverGirl mascaras, and they're really, really good. And then one more is, of course, my beloved Clinique Lash Power Mascara. This is a dupe for the MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash for the bottom lashes. This is so good for the lower lashes. I really need to get a new bottle. I should have gotten one from, or a new tube. I should have gotten it from Marshall's, but I just didn't bother to pick it up. And yeah, that's it, you guys. So please like and subscribe. Follow me on all my social media. I love you guys. And stay tuned for my next video for Best in Beauty. It should be face products next. So bye. And let me know what your Best in Beauty for eye products this year was in the comments below. Bye.